the U.S. approval of labor unions is at its highest point since what's that date? 1965. And I can remember my father was a developer, and I can remember all of the discussions around allowing a labor union to come in and what did he have to do so that that really wasn't an issue, so that he was just dealing with his own employees, et cetera. And they never did put a union in on my father's business, but he also paid very fair wages. But I remember when the unions were so powerful and so, they were everything. And then, of course, that has waned over the years as we went from workers being the most important to the new system that made corporations and profits the most important. But now what do we have? We have the labor unions at the highest point since 1965 when we were making the last shift. And you can see it. And historically, going back to before 1940, they were only a little bit higher than that at the highest points. So you can see that things are shifting. 16% today of Americans live in a household where at least one resident is a union member. And that might even be growing again. Well, there was a revolution back then. You might even recall the Beatles song, Revolution. Will there be another? Personally, I think yes. And personally, this to me is a pattern shift showing that that may have already begun, because America is barreling toward a summer of strikes. The labor movement is emboldened and ready to test its clout. This will be the biggest moment of striking really since the 1970s, said labor historian blah, 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 who directs. Okay, so this will be the biggest moment of striking really since the 1970s. I think that's really telling. You see these repeatable patterns because worker unrest and currency resets in the 70s were paralleling today. And even if you go back to the 30s and the 40s, you see a lot of parallels. And when we've talked about it, so look at this. This is referencing the 80s, which was the beginning of the full transition. This is referencing the 70s. This is referencing the 60s. Did you see that in between? No, you didn't. But you're seeing it more and more and more. And this is key because this is something that always happens when we transition into a new currency. If you like this clip and you want to watch the full video, just click right here. And to subscribe, click right here.